Get back in the car! Yes, you!
Do not grab on me like that! You
Out of the car!
You're fucking grabbing on me, you fucking criminals! Are you serious?
Yeah.
The velocity of a silver sedan cutting through the humid air of an August morning was the first variable in a rapidly calculating equation of disaster. On August 23, 2023, a residential street became the stage for a collision between personal desperation and public safety. A vehicle was observed traveling at 64 miles per hour in a zone designated for 35, creating a kinetic energy disparity that turned a standard commute into a lethal threat. The driver was not fleeing a bank robbery or rushing a dying relative to the hospital. She was late for work. This mundane anxiety, common to millions of American workers, became the catalyst for a sequence of decisions that would be immortalized in police bodycam footage and studied as a masterclass in how a traffic stop can devolve into a criminal record. The officer identified in official logs as Unit 5429 first observed the vehicle weaving aggressively through traffic. The driving pattern was erratic and dangerous. The sedan utilized the painted median of the roadway, a neutral ground intended for safe turning, as a makeshift passing lane to overtake slower, law-abiding motorists. This maneuver, known legally as a marked lanes violation, was a clear signal of a driver who had abandoned the rules of the road in favor of expediency. When the officer activated his emergency lights and siren, the expectation was binary and immediate. The law requires a driver to yield to the right and stop. There is no gray area in the vehicle code for finishing one's commute. However, the driver of the silver sedan made a unilateral decision to continue. She did not accelerate to flee in the traditional sense of a high-speed chase, but she failed to yield to the authority of the flashing lights. Instead, she navigated her vehicle into the parking lot of her workplace, believing that reaching her destination justified the delay in compliance. This failure to stop immediately created the initial legal friction. To the officer trailing behind this was not a commuter parking her car, it was a suspect refusing to stop. The distinction is critical in law enforcement, where every second of non-compliance raises the threat level of the encounter. The vehicle came to a halt in a parking stall, and the driver's door swung open before the wheels had fully settled. In the lexicon of traffic stop gone wrong videos, this is the pivotal moment of escalation. Police officers are trained to perceive a driver exiting a vehicle unprompted as a prelude to an ambush or a foot bail. The officer pulled his cruiser in behind the sedan and immediately issued a lawful order to control the scene. Get back in the car. His voice was commanding, designed to cut through the confusion. The law governing this interaction is firmly rooted in the Supreme Court decision Pennsylvania versus Mims, which grants officers the authority to order drivers to stay inside or exit the vehicle to ensure officer safety. The driver turned to face the officer, and her first words revealed the disconnect between her reality and the legal jeopardy she was in. "I need to go and tuck in," she pleaded, referencing the time clock she was racing against. Her mind was entirely focused on the economic consequence of being late, while the officer was focused on the criminal consequence of her driving. "Yes, you, because you are not doing what you are told to do," the officer retorted, stepping out of his vehicle. He repeated the command with increasing urgency. "Close the door, close the door, close the door." The repetition was not merely for emphasis, it was to establish a record of non-compliance that would later support charges of obstruction. "Oh my God, because you just ran from me," that is why the officer stated, categorizing her driving behavior as flight. The driver immediately rejected this narrative, yelling, "No, I did not." In her mind, she had not run, she had simply driven to a safer or more convenient location. But the law defines fleeing and eluding based on the failure to stop immediately upon the signal, not the intent of the driver to escape permanently. "Well, you did not stop when I told you stop," the officer countered, closing the physical distance between them. The body cam footage captures the intensity of this exchange, showing the officer moving to detain a suspect who was clearly intent on walking away. "I lose my job, please. I need to go and tuck in," the driver cried out. This sentence is the emotional core of the incident. It highlights the crushing pressure of the modern workplace, where a few minutes on a time clock can equal termination. However, the officer was operating under a different mandate. The enforcement of traffic laws cannot be paused for employment schedules. No, you are being lawfully detained right now," he informed her, placing his hands on her to prevent her from leaving the immediate vicinity of the car. The transition from a consensual conversation to a lawful detention had occurred the moment the lights went on, but now it was physical. "We are stopped," the driver argued, trying to reason that since the car was motionless, the location should not matter. The officer was not interested in debating the geography of the arrest. He called called out to his dispatch or a partner on the radio. She just thinks she needs to go to work instead of stopping for me. The driver continued to explain her logic, shouting, "I was trying to get out of the road. You were parked behind me and you turned your lights on in the middle of the damn road, so I turned here." This is a common defense offered by drivers in traffic violation arrest scenarios, but it holds little weight when the driver passes safe stopping points to reach a private lot. The officer's patience had evaporated. He moved to the next phase of the traffic stop procedure, which demands identification. "Try to pull that driver's license. Please do not scare. Try to pull that. I do not even want to deal with you." His language was clipped and frustrated. He asked again, "Ma'am, give me the driver's license now. Get out the car." The driver's refusal to provide identification or follow the physical commands to exit the vehicle properly compounded the situation. Failure to disclose personal information during a traffic stop is a secondary crime in many jurisdictions, often termed failure to identify. The physical struggle intensified as the driver resisted the officer's control. She was not throwing punches, but she was pulling away a behavior that legally constitutes resisting arrest. "Get out of the car, super, get out of the car, get out of the car," the officer yelled, overpowering her attempts to remain in the vehicle or shield herself with the door. The driver screamed, "Give me a license, you under arrest me a chance." Her syntax was breaking down under the adrenaline dump. She was watching her morning routine disintegrate into a police takedown, and she could not process the shift in reality. "Do not grab on me like that," she shouted as the officer spun her around to face the vehicle. The officer responded with the standard command for handcuffing. "Face the car." The body cam shows the driver tensing her muscles and locking her elbows, attempting to prevent her hands from being secured behind her back. This specific action is the textbook definition of active resistance. "Are you serious?" "Yeah, are you serious right now?" the officer asked incredulously as he wrestled with her arms. "Stop resisting, stop, 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 stop," he commanded. The rapid-fire orders serve a dual purpose. They instruct the suspect, and they demonstrate to any future jury or internal review board that the officer attempted to gain compliance verbally before escalating force. "I am not resisting," the driver yelled back. This denial is a psychological defense mechanism often seen in resisting arrest videos where the suspect believes that non-violence equals non-resistance, but the law disagrees. Pulling away is resistance. Bracing against the car is resistance. "You are still bracing and tensing. Stop," the officer explained, clearly articulating the physical actions that were prolonging the struggle. The driver then accused the officer of causing her pain. "Do not twist my hand like that, I am telling you, do not twist my hand like that." The officer denied the accusation, stating, "Nobody is twisting anything." The driver then invoked the power of the camera, screaming, "My camera is pointed right at the handcuffs right now to see what has happened." In the era of the smartphone, every citizen is a potential documentarian, but recording an arrest does not grant immunity from it. The officer managed to secure the cuffs, and the physical altercation settled into a sullen verbal standoff. "Relax, relax, relax, relax," the officer said, his breathing heavy from the exertion. The driver finally understood the gravity of her position, trying to take me to jail, damn it. The realization that she would not be clocking in was absolute. The officer radioed in the code, "Got 1015 resisting." The code 1015 is the universal police signal for a prisoner in custody. The driver remained defiant, engaging in a circular argument about her rights. I am going call my supervisor, so sticking, let her know that I am out here." The officer shut this down instantly. "No, you do not have that authority, sir. I was not under arrest." This statement reveals a profound misunderstanding of criminal procedure. A suspect does not get to decide when they are under arrest. The arrest occurs when a reasonable person would not feel free to leave and the officer asserts authority. "You do not have the right to tell me I was not under arrest. I know my rights," she declared. This phrase is the hallmark of the sovereign citizen arrest phenomenon, or simply an entitled driver who believes their knowledge of the law supersedes that of the sworn officer. The officer corrected her. "You do not have that right because you had not cooperated with me from the beginning." The driver tried to relitigate the stop one last time. "I turned so I can get out of the road, so what you wanted me to let you pull me over and I supposed to get out in the middle of a busy road." The officer dismantled her argument with geographic facts. "I am talking about why you did not stop back there. See, you stopped until we got right here." He pointed out that she had passed multiple safe areas, including the shoulder of the road she was speeding on. "You are a liar. I am done The driver watched from the back of the squad car as the officers opened her doors. "Do not touch my belongings," she shouted. "Is your driver's license in your purse?" the officer asked, needing to confirm her identity to process the arrest. She refused to cooperate, leading the officers to dig through her bag. "You are under arrest at this point. We have the right to search your car incident to arrest. Plus, we got ID to you," the officer explained. The driver continued to struggle with the second officer who was escorting her. "Don't pull on me, stand up straight, don't pull on me." She felt the physical guidance was an insult to her dignity. "You don't control me, you're a cop. You're a cop that I pay. You're a cop that I pay." This taxpayer argument is frequently cited in Cops vs. Karen compilations online, but it has zero legal merit. Paying taxes does not purchase immunity from the penal code, nor does it make the citizen the officer's supervisor in the field. "Why am I being arrested though?" she asked again, as the reality of the cage set in. The officer delivered the charge with finality. Obstruction. The charge of obstruction of official business is a broad tool used when a citizen's actions prevent a public official from performing their lawful duty. By refusing to stop, immediately refusing to stay in the car, and refusing to provide ID, the driver had created a textbook case for the charge. "Stop raging through my stuff," she screamed, using a malapropism for rummaging. "They do not have the right to rummage through my stuff." Her anger was impotent against the procedure of the state. The officers found her license, confirmed her identity, and prepared the vehicle for towing. The search revealed no contraband, no weapons, and no drugs. The entire catastrophe was a result of the driver's behavior and the initial speeding violation. There was no underlying crime to hide, only the frantic desire to be on time. "I need to call somebody. I need to call my mom so she can call my lawyer," she begged. The request for legal counsel is a right that attaches during custodial interrogation, but for now she was simply being transported. The officer informed her that she would be taken to the station, often referred to colloquially as the prison or jail. "We are going to take a walk over this prison." The driver's threats to sue and challenge the officers rang hollow in the empty parking lot. "I want to challenge that officer. I am going to challenge all y'all. This traffic stop gone wrong serves as a stark illustration of the consequences of non-compliance." The driver began the morning with a job and a valid driver's license. She ended it in handcuffs, facing charges of speeding, obstruction, and resisting arrest. The cost of the ticket for doing 64 and 35 would have been a few $100s. The cost of the arrest, including bail, attorney fees, impound costs, and court fines, would likely run into the thousands, not to mention the employment consequences she so desperately feared. The legal analysis of the event favors the officer's actions at almost every turn. The initial speed provided probable cause for the stop. The failure to stop immediately provided reasonable suspicion of fleeing. The exit from the vehicle violated the officer's control of the scene. The physical resistance justified the use of force to detain. While the officer's language became heated, his actions remained within the scope of the law. The driver's actions, by contrast, were a series of legal miscalculations driven by stress. The police bodycam footage of this arrest has circulated widely, serving as a digital warning to motorists. It demonstrates that the side of the road is not a courtroom. Arguments about safety, fairness, or employment do not suspend the authority of the police to detain and investigate. The belief that one is an entitled person versus police who can dictate the terms of a traffic stop is a dangerous fallacy that leads to physical conflict and incarceration. As the police cruiser drove away, leaving the driver's workplace behind, the irony was complete. She had risked everything to save a few minutes, and in doing so, she had lost her freedom for the day. The silver sedan sat empty, a silent monument to the poor decision-making that occurs when panic overrides logic. The officer's report would reduce the human drama to a series of codes and statutes, but the video remains a visceral reminder of how quickly a routine morning can turn into a life-altering event when a driver decides that their schedule is more important than the law. The aftermath of such an arrest ripples outward, affecting the driver's family, her employer, and the court system. Cases like this clog the docket with avoidable offenses. The uncooperative driver created a situation that required multiple officers, a tow truck, and jail staff to resolve. It is a systemic drain caused by the refusal to accept a simple citation. The police interaction gone wrong is rarely about the initial crime, and almost always about the reaction to the intervention. In the end, the lesson is simple. When the lights flash, you stop. You stay in the car. You hand over your license. You sign the ticket. You go to work late. The alternative, as seen on August 23rd, is a ride in the back of a squad car and a tragedy of errors, the breakdown of communication, the escalation of force, and the finality of the arrest are all preventable. It requires a mutual understanding of the rules of engagement. The officer enforces, the citizen complies, the court adjudicates. When that order is disrupted by a driver who decides to litigate on the pavement, the result is never victory. It is only noise handcuffs and the slamming of a jail cell door. The legal system will now process this driver. She will stand before a judge who will view the same footage. The defense will argue stress and fear. The prosecution will argue reckless disregard and obstruction. The outcome is statistically likely to be a plea deal or a conviction. The 64 miles per hour that started it all will be a footnote in a much larger story of resistance. The timeline of her life was altered not by the police but by her own refusal to accept the reality of the stop. It is a hard lesson delivered in the hardest way possible. As the video fades to black, the viewer is left with the sound of the officer's breathing and the hum of the cruiser's engine. The shouting is over. The pleading has stopped. The parking lot is quiet again. But the consequences of those few minutes of rebellion will echo for years. It is a powerful testament to the fragility of our daily routines and the absolute power of the law when it is challenged in the street. The driver wanted to be on time. Instead, she became a cautionary tale.